Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thomas Ruse Bezar with the Poet Warriors. Gonna mix it up a little bit today, and we're gonna go into the realm of music, especially a passion of mine, classical music, especially classical music on vinyl, which where I live, I've had the immense pleasure of growing a large collection because these albums are very, very cheap. And since I have no money and I barely get by, I can afford them. So I've had the luxury of listening to vinyl and appreciating vinyl and how much depth and the sound quality and some of these albums that were printed, I don't know, 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago, sound just as alive as a live concert. I mean, really. Invested in speakers and so forth and so on. But anyway, this is the first of a series, hopefully a continuing series on my passion for classical music. And I would like to title this The Desert Island, Baez's Desert Island Discs. These are the discs that if I had to choose that I'm on a desert island stranded away from humanity, that I would have on my person with my album, with my turntable, and of course so if I crashed, I hopefully have the albums, the turntable, and the speakers, and an electrical outlet. That's all I need. Okay, here we go. Desert Island 10, not 10, just say Desert Island disc, not 10. Let's make this a continuing series and let's see where it ends. Anyway, the first one that I would take with me is this one right here, The Rite of Spring, composed by Igor Stravinsky, conducted by Pierre Monteux, and the Paris Conservatory Orchestra, or as they say, the Paris Conservatoire Orchestra, or Orchestra. I'm sorry I had to do that. I was just trying to be legit. Anyway, it's part of this RCA series, which with these numbers, sometimes you get really high quality albums. And this one is, there are many recordings of this album. Of this piece. Yet this one conducted by one of the greats, Pierre Monteux, one of the giants, French conductor, wide, experience in a wide array of symphonic pieces, opera. He really it wasn't he just conducted French orchestral music or French composers, but really the gamut, German, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, you name it, he conducted it. And this one, in this specific recording, it is so alive, so primal, so terrifying, as the piece is meant to be. I think the piece is very raw. A lot of percussion, a lot of brass, especially toward the last third of the piece, where it almost sounds, it's so chaotic, but you have to have such a control over the orchestra, and Monteux does. It does sometimes sounds like as if it's getting a little bit messy, but that's okay because I think the piece warrants that. And I know of another well-known classical music aficionado who also has his own. I think he's not a big fan of this particular recording, but I am. I think it's one of the best. I've heard many of Rite of Spring. I would have to say this one is top of many really, really good ones. And probably this is 1A for me. And if you get a chance to hear it, on vinyl especially, but if not, CD or on YouTube, but vinyl, there's nothing like it. That sound, that depth of sound, that just beautiful layering of notes and the way they recorded it, just wonderful. 1A, Rite of Spring. The other Rite of Spring that I think you should, that is on par with that one, is probably many people, I think classical music aficionados, think this is one of the top, and I agree. It's Seiji Ojawa with the Chicago Symphony, And this one also is masterful. It's a masterful performance. The sound, the intensity, the moments of lightness and poetry. But there's what I love about this piece, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, is it's a modern piece. It is a 20th century piece. It actually caused, when in its premiere back in the early 20th century in Paris, I believe, a riot broke out because the piece was so different, so unusual, so new, that it literally caused a riot in its premiere. And here, I don't know, 100 years later, this thing is played by all orchestras, part of their season. It's now a classic. Not I guess modern. That's how they label it, but it's part of their repertoire. And Ojawa, I'm sorry, Ojawa. I think that's it, or Ozawa. There we go. And the Chicago Symphony do it justice. I mean, they play as if their hair is on fire. It is a truly, truly spectacular performance. Ozawa is a wonderful conductor. I think he was a chief conductor of Boston for a while, and I don't know who else, but Boston for sure. But this one he leads the Chicago Symphony. And like I said, this is 1A, Desert Island, 1B, Rite of Spring, Stravinsky. First one, Monteau with Paris. Second with Ozawa with Chicago. Peace out.
Mmm.
Tasty.